Well, I would say first look and see if there is any kind of longevity clinics that actually kind of focus on science-backed insights and testing, and kind of start there, and just keep a record of everything that you're actually doing. Keep a general trajectory of information about your diet, your exercise, if you have a wearable, and try and consolidate it as much as possible.
Hello and welcome to the Biohack Her podcast. I'm Azra Ulagich, your host and founder of Biohack Her. I'm an integrative nutrition health coach specializing in longevity for women, a health and wellness journalist, writer, corporate consultant, and a biohacking advocate. Biohack Her is a space where we can explore ways to optimize our health to live well longer. Whether it's through improving our nutrition, exercising, cryotherapy, supplementation, technology, and more, I'll be bringing you information and interviews with the best longevity experts to help you understand what you can do to optimize your health, prevent disease, and slow down or even reverse the symptoms of aging by taking control of your unique bio-individuality. Want to know more? Let's dive in. Jasmine Smith, you're the CEO of Rejuve AI. How did you get involved in longevity and what drove your focus on AI?
Hi, thanks for inviting me. Yeah. So I started out in health information management. So I'm originally from the US, as you might be able to tell. And yeah, so I did was kind of working for a major healthcare system in Texas, and I just kind of was going through these medical records and just seeing that these protocols that people were being put onto were never going to lead to any cures, and could possibly even lead to making them worse. But it wasn't due to some kind of deep evil or something like that, but it was more just kind of chaos and disorganization of the system. So at the same time, I started to get involved with a project called Singularity Net, and they were working on beneficial, and still are working on beneficial AI for humanity. So making sure that some of these more feared scenarios of AI actually don't come to pass, and that these machines and intelligences actually have human values kind of baked into them at their core. So I started volunteering with them, and then a couple years later, that kind of led to being officially on board and as a product manager for an early spin out project in longevity and health tech, which is right up my alley. So started developing the product roadmap for the Rejuve app at that time, and then that led to a cryptocurrency based fundraise in 2023.
Wow, like such a projection there in terms of where you started, and now here you are, the CEO of Rejuve. I mean, that's such a great achievement. With the advent of wearables, capturing health data is becoming more popular, but most people have no idea how much health data they're generating, and but who actually owns it right now?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So today, I mean, pretty much when you put this data into your different applications, it's that company that you're kind of sharing it with. So it's Apple, it's Google, all these brands that are kind of already that we're interacting with day to day. And I mean, while it is kind of getting there, there's still not kind of a kit to kind of manage all of this data in one place as an individual uh, person, pretty much. And this is what we're kind of building at Rejuve, is a way to have all of this data in one place, be able to leverage it and even monetize it for your own health and wellness benefits. Using it to unlock rewards to access health products and services and subsidized costs. Being able to get AI-driven insights and recommendations, and then be able to share those with healthcare providers to help put you on the most optimal path. To for healthiest aging.
Do you think people can trust AI though, an AI health assistant as such?
It highly depends on, I guess, the accuracy of the initial input of the data it's going into, and then how kind of in depth it's processing and what the sources are that it's leveraging. So if you're leveraging medically reviewed articles, peer reviewed studies, this kind of a thing, then you're kind of just giving people best practice advice. You're not really suggesting anything novel or different from what would you would normally be able to read on a health kind of a blog, or even from a doctor. But where it kind of gets a little bit more in depth is highlighting kind of maybe key areas that are a little bit of a blind spot, or that are a difficult area, and be able to recommend practical strategies to actually impact. And instead of just kind of generically saying, "Hey, you ought to, stop doing this or do more of that," here's an actual tailored plan that fits your lifestyle and your preferences and all of the things that we learned about you, your genetics background and all of that. Here's an actionable pathway and strategy that you can actually do to get to the outcome that you're desiring.
Yeah. You've said before that our health data could be incredibly valuable. Valuable to who? And are we being exploited without realizing it? Not to be a
Yeah,
conspiracy
well,
theorist.
yeah, I mean, definitely it can be, any kind of large volume of data, especially of a personal nature, can be exploited. A lot of times today with big tech, it's mostly used to just kind of drive these advertising loops of, trying to sell you things or promote certain type of content in this continuous feedback loop to make you think a certain way. The health data itself, when it gets into commercial value, that's usually more associated with, kind of medical fraud or trying to steal identity. But when you get kind of past that level, I think it's more actually useful for your healthcare provider and for yourself than it kind of is to think about it in kind of selling it on this open market. If we're thinking about it in just raw health data terms, of course, it's highly unethical to if this data were to leak and it's used to get against you for any sort of decisions when it comes to maybe insurance or any employment and things of that nature. So that's definitely something to safeguard against in terms of privacy and security. But as a kind of collection itself, I think its most critical value is to the person who you're most kind of interacting with healthcare wise, so that you're kind of not missing things and not kind of wasting time or maybe taking things that you don't need to take, and that you're actually on a pathway that can make you the healthiest, fastest.
Mm. Do you think we're entering a world where our health data could be more valuable than our super fund?
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure, like, health is wealth. I mean, there's so many, times, I'm sure you're, have heard it and aware that, people you can make, all the money in the world, you can have all this success and have everything, but then the moment that your health, goes wrong, you don't feel like you're on top of the world anymore, and it's kind of the main thing, that matters. So I think, as we're kind of getting into this new era of being able to do more with it, and then that's how we're actually seeing the industry evolve as well as, longevity is kind of becoming this, a little bit of a luxury sector. So, we want to take advantage of that kind of market that's emerging and gather as much data as we can from those that are in position to get it so that we can scale those insights to perpetuate through more general practice healthcare systems, to kind of improve the ground state and the standard of healthcare in general.
Yeah, we hear a lot about AI transforming healthcare, but what does that actually look like in someone's day-to-day life, do you think?
Yeah, so this biohacking space that's emerging is pretty interesting. I mean, a lot of people, one of the most requested features actually for our app is, being able to maybe take a picture of your food or dictate it, with voice to be able to collect it. Because if you kind of do this logging in diary form, at the end of the day, you might forget some things or you might just go, don't really feel like it. And, I kind of do the same. I don't really use those kind of tools at the moment. But if you can do it in real time and turn it into a little bit of a game and a challenge, then this kind of can increase, the volume of data that you're collecting and the kind of granularity of it and the accuracy.
Mm. With this AI health data that we're gathering, how is it going to benefit the longevity space? How is it going to benefit research, do you think?
So there's a lot of interesting new commercially available tests out there when it comes to the epigenetics and biological age. The glycan age test, pretty interesting, and there's even ones in metabolomics and proteomics coming along. And there is kind of conflict in the space on how whether or not these should really already be accurate or available to the public. But I think that as we're getting more information, it will definitely be valuable in designing new types of testing instruments that actually are valuable, for longevity research, and also just yeah, being able to scale protocols that have actually worked for real people, and getting them out there, improving or doing kind of the knowledge transfer to the modern medical system.
Let's do a deeper dive into that. So, in terms of protocols, how are you seeing AI benefit protocols for individuals?
I would say like the being able to kind of query and put or analyze a body of data that you have all at one time, and instead of just going at this kind of pinpoint thing of okay, I have this one blood test and I've answered these questions. What can I do? It's if you have several consecutive instances and you have maybe a whole genome sequencing report, you start to kind of get this, narrowed vision of what to actually focus on, and you're able to actually kind of see in real time and adjust. Like, okay, if I maybe I'll try doing this. It's kind of seeming like it's recommended. That omega 3 keeps coming up. Maybe I'll actually try that and then remeasure again and see how that works. Or maybe let me actually try a concerted effort to get 30 minutes of active exercise per day and do it for 6 weeks, and then come back and measure certain variables again. And then that's getting into kind of a self-guided N of one mini study, and aggregating a whole bunch of these together is really, I think, can transform AI for health.
Mm. In as in with clinical trials, perhaps? Could this data be used for the likes of other longevity clinical trials? I mean, we've seen Dr. Dave Sinclair talk recently about his human clinical trial that is going to be doing on looking at the eye and how we could reverse aging in the eye and cure blindness perhaps. And if they're able to prove that they can do that, and they're successful with that, that could then extend to other parts of the human body or the whole human body. Do you see this data contributing to that type of research?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, this is all about getting that and then mapping it to these deeper factors like hallmarks of aging and all these kind of cellular molecular relationships that are occurring.
Yeah.
And then I guess with when it comes more to the consumer side outside of a more standardized clinical trial, you can kind of run decentralized trials. You can kind of see if there's associations and correlations with certain substances or health practices, wellness practices, and actual biomarkers, and from there, be able to use that information to design better and better clinical trials.
Mm. He also mentioned recently that with current research, they've been able to progress it so much faster than what they have previously. Something that they would have had to do 20 years ago that would have taken 10 years is now taking literally months to do as a result of AI powered research. Are you finding that in Rejuve as well? Are you finding that in the space that you're working in?
Yeah, I mean, definitely some tasks for the data preparation and processing are much faster. You can kind of synthesize reports on massive amounts of data in much quicker times than ever before. So I think definitely, and then now there's kind of research assistance systems coming on board as well to actually be able to run actual complete studies and queries in one session and kind of give you the results. And it's not to say that all of a sudden all the work is done and no humans are needed, because of course you always have to check the AI's work, and you use it as an acceleration kind of a tool and a kind of a guide as to what the next step is.
Mm. And I suppose that would be some people's concern, right? In terms of how accurate is it? Is it checked by a human? We do tend to be a little bit cynical still of AI in some quarters, I think. I mean, AI is here, it's going to stay, and I think we need to learn to live with it and learn how to utilize it in the best possible way we can. But there are still some people out there that are quite cautious about this opportunity.
Yeah, and I mean, this highlights that we have not, contrary to some maybe headlines, we're not really replacing these skilled jobs. I mean, even now you see a lot of talk about, oh, well, you can build an app overnight. You can just type some words in there, and all of a sudden you launch it on the App Store. But that doesn't have the same as defensibility and actual user stickiness and value and network kind of effects. Like, all of those things are still human agents, and everybody still wants. Some kind of face or brand that they can actually trust, that has a demonstrated track record of handling data properly and delivering value. And I think all of those things are still, really valuable, and being scientifically accurate and being able to cite its sources. That's always the key with the AI, is that, because even when you're doing something like a writing composition, you can find a lot of the sources were kind of cited incorrectly. You have to go in there and check it and make sure.
Mm. We know that there's been a significant gap historically in women's health and research. How do you see AI closing that gap? How will it benefit women in particular for their health?
Yes, I think, being able to, again, aggregate all of those different kind of insights that were at one point in time, the different data points were kind of scattered, in different areas. You have, like, maybe a menstruation tracking app, and then you have a food tracking app. You have some, maybe blood tests that you've done, and then there's more of this general corpus of body of knowledge that's kind of building, from different, studies and trials that have happened. and that are actually accelerating now. So being able to combine that and put it more in the context of, making sure you are actually measuring the hormone levels and understanding the trajectories that women particularly are going through as they age, and applying that to health and wellness. I think that's kind of the game changer of being able to evolve from just these kind of simple ABC applicable to everyone insights to actual personalized ones that are considerate of female biology as well.
And that certainly seems to be where a lot of the longevity space and proactive medical care space is moving towards, doesn't it? That personalized approach, that personalized medicine, or as some clinicians I've heard call it, health or medicine 3.0, I think it is. What's your view on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really amazing because I know I can even remember at one point in time, it was even kind of controversial or like conspiratorial to kind of talk about, different ways to kind of go about health and being able to say that, hey, there's something wrong with the incentives of, pharma companies and all that kind of a thing. And now that's becoming less controversial to say those things. And it's really good that the actual doctors and clinicians are coming on board with the personalization and coming back to the roots of why they got into that field. Most likely is because they wanted to actually help people and see them get healthy and actually work on that aspect instead of just becoming a little bit mechanical and just kind of okay, see this output, write this script, and move on to the next one and move the next person through the queue. It's actually becoming more back to that the roots of what practicing medicine was all about.
You mentioned the queue, and I often think whenever I go to see my GP rather, I feel like I'm on a conveyor belt. You've got like 5 minutes of time with the doc. Or I remember once going into a GP. This was years ago, and I had a list of things that I wanted to talk to them about. And I got through my first one, and then I started to say, okay, well, there's this and this. No, oh no, no, no. You'll need to book a separate appointment for that. I can't talk to you about that today. And I was just
Uh,
that was my reaction as well. I could not believe it. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. I've booked time to come in and now you're saying that, okay, I've got 10 minutes with you. I can only talk to you about one healthcare concern, and then you're out because 'cause I've got to speak to the next patient." I mean, that's just crazy to me, and I do feel like that sometimes that's how modern, current contemporary medicine is, that it's very processed in that way. Do you think that AI is going to help to, I don't know, prop that up a bit? I mean, we've seen, I think it's evidence-based, the one that's focused on helping support, sort of app that's helping support medical practitioners doing like curbside consults, what you would in a hospital, and it's targeted at GPs who are in remote areas and so on, really helping them. But I mean, I just see a real opportunity here to try to kind of give people a little bit more time with their health care concerns.
Yeah, that's like a really great point. And another case for kind of each individual having this kind of kit already of their health data that's portable that they can kind of interface and share with their new healthcare provider if they've just switched or even existing ones to be able to get more out of that time and hopefully extend it as well. But if they already have all of the background information, the patterns and trajectories that have been happening, let's say for the past year, and all of that, those insights are right there, then they can ask the right questions and kind of get straight to the point, to refine, what the care plan is.
Mm. We're seeing AI technology and smarts move quite rapidly, and in the foreseeable future, one would think that it's only going to get even smarter. How do you see AI genuinely extending lifespan, or is a real opportunity about improving health span?
So yeah, the whole like health span and lifespan debate I always found really interesting because there's a common point in that everybody wants to be healthier here and now today and also tomorrow. So they think the true power of AI applied to this space of living longer when it comes to actual lifespan extension is going to be driving those key research initiatives like such as what's going on in David Sinclair's lab and a lot of these emerging health tech companies that are doing experimental gene therapies, cell therapies, different combinations, trying to discover how to actually impact the biology at that level. As these insights kind of can steer those experiments to get more out of them, so that we're not just kind of, uh, you know, shooting blindly in the dark and hoping for an outcome, but that we're actually specifically knowing exactly what experiments that we need to run next and being able to shorten the time, that we can get valuable information. That's what's really gonna impact it. And then on the health span side, I mean, I think it's gonna come down really to behavior and incentives and actually a little bit, redesigning, kind of different societal infrastructures to actually promote health and wellness. Like you mentioned, definitely the traditional healthcare system, needs a little bit of, revamping there to, focus on that the optimization and, peak wellness, being able to have, healthier initiatives when it comes to food, production and, the pricing is in the stores and all those kind of things, I think improve, the overall health span average of a population.
I was chatting to Dr. Ross Walker earlier, and he's a prominent cardiologist here in Australia. And we were discussing how people are so caught up in the Western diet and that they're not moving enough, they're not exercising enough. How do you see AI helping to drive that behavioral change that you were alluding to just before? Because it seems to be that there's a common sentiment there among clinicians and thought leaders in the longevity space that it really is about lifestyle changes that we need to try to drive, and in doing so, we need to drive that behavioral change, and perhaps AI is a tool that will help to really cross that barrier and really help to create sustainable change moving forward.
Yeah, I think that really is the core of it. I think the gamification aspects can, really help there, like, you feel like, you're kinda making some progress or, you're kind of achieving different milestones and goals and challenges, instead of it kind of becoming this chore like, "Oh, I need to make sure I've got my, 3 to 5 servings of vegetables today." It's like, okay, each one that you're adding to it is kind of giving you that, immediate reward stimulation. I mean, we live in a world today where everyone is kind of, using their phones a lot, we're looking at screens, we're switching through different apps and, getting these little micro blurbs of information. So being able to use those patterns that are already there, the micro learning, small, insightful notifications and sparks of interest, different educational pieces, and crafting that together into a milestone driven plan that you're actually excited and motivated about to make the next step on. I think that's really what will kind of revolutionize that space and kind of lead to those more meaningful changes. That's not just, do this and do that kind of style.
Mm. Yeah, for sure. Because you mentioned about gamification, and when people are scrolling through TikTok or Insta, whatever it might be, we know that they're getting that reward, that dopamine hit from doing that scrolling. And I'm envisaging that these AI apps moving forward are going to be able to do that as well for people and be able to help promote that behavioral change through that reward system that the app is going to be providing, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, giving you that type of feeling about improving your health and wellness. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. What's one thing that you think that AI can already detect about our health that most people would be shocked by right now?
I think, maybe, the kind of variance, whether, more or less of what you think you're doing versus what you're actually doing once, everything's kinda put together. Like, you may kind of if you're given a random survey and say, "Oh, like, I do this, every in this time period," and then all of your data is analyzed and it goes, "Oh, there's been a trend, in this last time that, you've actually decreased on this behavior or you've been doing more of this lately." I think, that type of insight, can already be useful today. And then again, as well as just kind of making these more holistic narratives about your overall body of health data instead of just focusing in on, okay, this value was low and this one was high and this one was normal. It's like, what is this whole entire picture actually painting, based on age, based on sex, genetic profile, all this kind of thing.
And that's an interesting point, and what comes to my mind is that if you go and get some bloods done, for instance, if you were to go get a hormone test done and there are certain averages that, our medical system here in Australia sort of, dictates that your estrogen level should be or that your progesterone and testosterone levels should be. Do you see that AI can provide that more bespoke, um I suppose, percentage that an individual should have compared to the normal average range that's dictated by our current medical system as a result of wearables, as a result of AI, because it is able to use our personal biometrics to be able to kind of guide that correct measurement.
Yeah, and you actually mentioned an important part of it is that the AI is powered by these large data streams and continuous data. So yeah, now that everybody does have these wearables, and these new biohacking tools are kind of making people more incentivized to track more often. And yeah, that's where that kind of level of personalization can go. Where, and again, like tracking the trends, it's like when you are at your optimal, and that's subjectively, objectively, when you're feeling your best, what is this looking like, versus when you're not feeling so great, what is it looking like, and being able to build what that person's normal has actually been looking like and should look like, and then different scenarios of what can happen if you kind of go above and beyond that, or how to avoid it from slipping back.
Mm. How do you think women can use their own data to better understand things like hormones, stress, metabolic health?
Yeah, I would say, keeping up with the research, and actually just, tracking it and being a bit more aware of, what's actually happening during different times. Because I know, like, for instance, I haven't really done that a lot. Like, I haven't really tracked, oh, do I kind of feel this way, or, behave more this way, or eat more of this, or do more of that during different stages of my cycle. Like, I have no idea. And if there are different testing that you have access to actually confirm the hormone levels, that's amazing qualifying data, because then you don't have to only rely on the subjective measurements, but then you also have some concrete objective data there to kind of better paint that picture, and kind of understand where you are and what you might do to actually, prevent decline, or slow it down to a certain degree, to keep, kind of your peak fitness and everything else that you want to maintain.
Mm. Do you think we're close to truly personalizing health for women, or are we still oversimplifying female biology? Because I've heard in some other apps, and I won't name them, but I've heard, but they are quite popular apps that they were built on male biology, right? And so I'm quite passionate about closing the gap between male health and female health. So keen to hear your thoughts on this and what you're seeing in the space that you're in.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is a lot of truth to that. That a lot of the historical data sets were based on males. I mean, there are some, pretty large ones that a lot of research groups are using, like the NHANES from the US and the UK Biobank, which do have a pretty balanced amount of data between males and females. But I think still, yeah, we definitely need more studies, more trials, and more data being generated, and more voices from women actually contributing to designing the technology, to speaking to us, kind of, instead of just a more generic. Because I feel like there's more of a, it is kind of in the underlying sense based on males, but we see it as more almost unisex. We just see health as just this kind of generic
Yeah.
thing, and we don't really think too much about those differences.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you entirely, and it'll be interesting to see how AI helps to close that gap moving forward, I think. I mean, we are drowning in data to a certain extent with these wearables and all of these different apps that are coming through, but why do you think it is that we're not seeing better health outcomes despite all of this data? Is it back to that behavioral change component that you think that we still haven't quite nailed?
I mean, that's definitely one aspect of it, but I think it's also, kind of the natural slowness of overarching systems to change.
Yeah. Okay.
It's kind of this thing where, yeah, you have all of this data, but is it really actually today making that full use that it possibly can? Or is it, yes, still kind of just remaining in these different apps, and in your mind, it's like, oh, okay, I know that I read this the other day, and I saw that the other day, and now I'm going to try this. Like, are you actually tracking, what's actually happening during each of those intervals, and connecting the dots and making a full story out of it? And is all of your clinical providers also going from that same story and making decisions based on that? And then in turn, is the actual, government infrastructures and societal infrastructures also taking those cues, and revamping things based on it? Are we doing making sure that the water quality is optimal, that the air quality is absolutely best for this ongoing longevity and health? Are we making sure that it's easy to exercise, having bike lanes? There's all these different factors that can go into raising health at a populational level. Some parts are cultural. There's all different elements. So yeah, the personal agency part is always going to be a factor. But then there is another factor of how easy and how accessible and enjoyable it is to choose the right thing, versus how easy it is to choose the wrong thing.
Yeah, it's a really great point that you make because obviously it's been widely publicized about the changes that are happening in US healthcare as a result of the recent Trump administration and Make America Healthy Again. How do you feel that? I mean, you're living here in Australia now, but how do you feel Australia compares to that drive that the current administration in America is making to try to change health in Americans, as opposed to how the Australian administration is doing in supporting Australia's health, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the baseline, Australia was already a little bit ahead in that regards because he didn't have as many problems with, letting a lot of things into the foods that shouldn't be there. There's already kind of this health rating star system on the different foods of, kind of letting you know upfront, okay, yeah, this is something that's probably not so good for you versus something that is. Um, and yeah, I just think there's just, overall more of and then, of course, the payment structures, which has always been kind of the historical one of the issues with America as well. So I think the what's driving make America healthy again. I mean, of course, it's the obesity rates and the declining health that we're seeing, even though the lifespan had started to decrease there as well. So I think that that initiative is more about getting back to the roots of healthy organic farming and regenerative agriculture and actually prioritizing health. And that's again something to here that's always been kind of strong from what I've observed in my time here is that there's still a lot of respect for farmers and local growers and all that kind of a thing. So that's sort of seeing a revival in America because everything kind of went to factories and all that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, environment is such a huge contribution to how healthy we can or cannot be, right? We've touched again previously on gamification, and it comes to my mind how people can become addicted to their phones or addicted to social media. How do we stop people from becoming obsessed with data now with these health apps, right? But not actually becoming healthier, that we're actually creating a new problem, despite the fact that we're trying to help people with this type of technology.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really where that, coming into more of like my business hat, like that defensibility comes into play there. Yeah, how exactly do you make that happen? My idea is kind of having this overall a background idea that you only really want them interacting with the app maybe 10 to 15 minutes a day. Log your things, learn some facts, check your things, and then like do this other kind of reward stimulating action to achieve and make progress on the outcome that you're selecting and making those outcomes very intentional and focused. Like if you want to quit smoking, you focus on that. If you want to lose weight, you focus on that first, and then you move to the next thing. Um, so yeah, like I think the using the addictiveness of the phone without kind of using like pretty much not making it that way from the design, I think is the key, is, already having that in mind as a health professional or, whoever it is that's designing these products and services, that the goal is not to just keep on, extracting more and more, but to actually lead someone to a regular, timed pattern of engagement that achieves, all of the goals that, things that you want them to do, but that's also leading to that, outcome that is satisfying for the individual and, profitable as well.
Yeah, so it all comes down to the design itself. Would you trust an AI to guide your health decisions over a doctor? And should we?
I'm more of the mind that the doctors and professionals and scientists should be involved in the creation of the AI that is being put into the systems. We're a smaller entity, so we do have a few scientists and medical advisors, kind of overseeing what we do as well. But I think that's really what's going to be the game changers. All these kind of longevity clinics and these really bright minds kind of coming together and putting some standards of validation and quality on the type of AI that's kind of going into commercial production for personalized health apps. So I would say I would definitely I would consider primarily using it like in between any like occasional visits, but I would want to know how it was made and what type of standards it's following, and that it what actually was certified by someone who knows what they're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, or whether it's linked to scientific data or research or whatever it might be, right? What are
Mhm.
the biggest risks that you think that people aren't thinking about when it comes to sharing their health data at the moment?
Yeah, I think kind of back to the point you mentioned in the beginning that we really don't know what's happening afterwards. We always kind of hear maybe sometime later, it could be 10, 15, 20 years later that all of a sudden there's a breach or it could happen sooner. And no one ever knows, like, are they selling this data to different brokers? Are they sharing it with external third party advertisers and people that might be able to do more malicious things or try and, sniff out and steal things or any of that. So I think you really still do have to be wary and vigilant, check out privacy policies, terms of service, ask questions, all that kind of thing.
Mm. So if someone listening today wants to start using their health data more intelligently, where do you think that they should begin?
Well, I would say first look and see if there is any kind of longevity clinics that actually kind of focus on science-backed insights and testing, and kind of start there, and just keep a record of everything that you're actually doing. Keep a general trajectory of information about your diet, your exercise, if you have a wearable, and try and consolidate it as much as possible, and then kind of get to that point of connecting with someone who can give you that deeper interpretation from a medically and scientifically informed viewpoint.
Mm. So what's next for Rejuve? What's happening in the company at the moment in terms of collaborations or research that you're focused on? What's the next exciting big step that you guys are focused on?
Yeah, so we've actually last month just wrapped up our first kind of in-person cohort on this island off of Honduras called Roatan. There's a special economic zone there called Prosper, and we had about 40 people measure various different biomarkers at one time point, and then again at the end of the month in a biomarkers competition. And that was kind of the formal onboarding of our research platform. And we're going to take the data from those early adopters and use that to inform deeper personalization of insights, pretty much. And we're also working toward our premium subscription of the app as well, which will include enhanced AI features and different more types of data tracking, like supplements and medications, and different access to advanced products and services, and being able to actually ingest the data from the tests that I was mentioning earlier, like true diagnostic, like an age, all those kind of things.
Yeah. So just back to that focus group that you had on Honduras, I think you said. Walk us through what they had to do.
There was already an event going on there called Infinite Games. So the idea is you kind of come there, and there's all these different types of thing. Like they had, there was some marathon runs. There was kind of more brain focus games and competitions, and poker, and all these different things. And one of them was a longevity biomarkers competition. And since our protocol is more of observational, I did not recommend, hey, change this or change that. It was more measure your baseline. So we did a blood test, a urine microsample based metabolomics test, epigenetics, and then we did kind of the height, weight, hip waist measurements, and those kind of things, and also grip strength. And then there was a cognitive written test as well. And we asked people to use our app, to kind of track their daily routines and select whether or not they were going to change something. So we kind of left it up to them, like, do you want to change something, or would you rather just go as you are? And then measure those same exact points after 30 days have passed.
Right. And what were the findings? Have you got any early findings yet as a result of that assessment?
Yeah, so the kind of analysis is ongoing at this time, so pretty soon we'll have it.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right. And just finally, if you could fix one thing about how we approach health today using AI, what would it be?
Huh. It's a big question. I guess that I would go back to, just having more of the leading professionals actually playing an active agency role, instead of kind of a sideline skeptical, like, what's it going to do? And not approaching AI as so much of this creature that's like existing upon itself, but seeing it as an extension of humans and our own ingenuity and capabilities as a species, and kind of seeing it more like that.
Yeah, yeah. Good point. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on today that we haven't covered on that you think it's important for my audience to know?
I think we've kind of gone a lot in detail. I mean, this is a really exciting, space with the wearables and the health tech. So, I would say, stay informed and stay vigilant. And yeah, there's a lot of exciting things that I think are coming on the horizon. And the advocacy part doesn't get unheard as well. So everybody that is kind of making their unique effort, to get this information out there and to connect all of these parties together to improve the system, and calling out what does need to be improved is always going to help move it forward in a faster way.
Fabulous. Jasmine, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Saz.
Well, that's a wrap for today's podcast. Thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like to learn more about biohacking, go ahead and sign up on my website at www.biohack-her.com to get a free copy of my 5 top biohacks to get you kick-started. While you're there, you can also check out my blog page for more tips on biohacking. If you'd like to subscribe to this podcast, you can do so on Apple, Spotify, and Google Play. Let us know if there's anyone you'd like us to talk to in particular, and we'll endeavour to get them on the podcast. Until next time, remember to live well longer.